The night Ethan Miller realized his life was about to change, the rain came down hard and fast, like the city itself was trying to wash something away. It was a Thursday in Seattle, just past 7, rush hour choking the streets. Ethan sat in his car outside an apartment building he had sworn he would never visit alone. The engine was off. The radio was silent. His phone buzzed once in his hand, then went still. "Lena Parker, you don't have to come. I know this is wrong." Ethan stared at the message, his chest tight. He typed back nothing, because he was already there for weeks, no months. He had told himself this moment would never happen. That whatever strange pull had grown between him and Lena was harmless, temporary, a side effect of too many late talks and shared laughs. But here he was, parked across from her building, rain sliding down the windshield, heart pounding like it had somewhere else to be. Ethan was not the kind of man who crossed lines. He believed in loyalty, in rules, in doing the right thing even when it cost him something. That was how he had been raised in a quiet suburb outside Portland. That was how he lived. And yet the truth pressed against him now, heavy and undeniable. Lena wasn't just his friend's girlfriend anymore. She was the question he couldn't answer, the door he couldn't stop thinking about. Ethan stepped out of the car, the cold rain soaking his jacket instantly. He didn't run. He didn't hesitate, walked straight to the entrance, like someone who already knew the ending but needed to see it anyway. Inside, the building smelled like old carpet and coffee. The elevator was broken, so he took the stairs one step at a time, his breath loud in the narrow space. With every floor, he told himself to turn back. He didn't. When he reached her door, he stopped. His hand hovered inches from the wood. This was it, he thought. The moment before everything bends. He knocked. The door opened almost right away. Lena stood there barefoot, wearing a soft gray sweater, her hair loose like she hadn't bothered to tame it. She looked tired, but not surprised, Ethan, she said quietly. For a second, neither of them moved. "I know," he said. "I shouldn't be here." She nodded. "I know." Still, she stepped aside. The door closed behind him with a sound that felt louder than it should have. They didn't touch. They didn't smile. They stood facing each other in the small living room, rain tapping against the windows like impatient fingers. "How did you know where I lived?" Lena asked. "You told me once," Ethan said. "After Ryan's birthday." She let out a breath. "Right?" Ryan, the name sat between them, solid and uncomfortable. They moved to the couch, leaving space between them like a silent agreement. Lena wrapped her hands around a mug of tea that had long gone cold. "I didn't expect you to actually come," she said. "I didn't expect myself to," Ethan replied. That was the truth, clean and sharp. They talked at first about simple things, work, the weather, how bad traffic had been lately. It felt strange, like pretending nothing was happening while standing in the middle of it. Finally, Lena broke. "I feel like I'm disappearing," she said. Ethan looked at her. "What do you mean?" She stared at the floor. "Like I'm living someone else's plan. Wake up, work, come home, talk about the same future every night. Marriage, house, kids, always kids." Ryan wanted kids. He talked about them like they were items on a list. "I used to want that too," Lena continued. "Or maybe I just thought I did." Ethan listened. He didn't interrupt. He didn't fix. "That sounds heavy," he said. "It is," she replied, "and Ryan doesn't see it. Or maybe he doesn't want to." Ethan knew Ryan well. They had worked together for years. Ryan was steady, careful, proud of being reliable. He loved Lena in a way that made sense on paper. But paper doesn't breathe. "He's not a bad person," Lena said quickly, like she needed to defend him even now. "He loves me. I know he does. I know," Ethan said. That was the worst part. If Ryan had been cruel or careless, this would have been easier. But Ryan wasn't broken. The relationship was. Silence filled the room again, thick and charged. "I shouldn't talk to you about this," Lena said. "You're his friend." Ethan nodded. "Yeah. And yet," she whispered. "And yet," he echoed. Outside, thunder rolled in the distance. Lena stood suddenly and walked to the window, hugging herself. "Ryan thinks I'm at my sister's tonight." Ethan felt his stomach drop. "You didn't have to tell me that," he said. "I know," she replied, "but I wanted to be honest. At least with someone." He stood too, staying a careful distance away. "Lena," he said, voice low, "if I'm here, it has to be. It has to be clean, no lies, no pretending." She turned to face him. Her eyes were glassy, but steady. "Do you ever feel like your life doesn't fit anymore?" she asked. The question landed hard. Ethan thought of his empty apartment, his quiet routines, the way his days blended together. The way something inside him had woken up since knowing her. "Yes," he said, "that was all it took." They talked for hours after that. About childhood dreams that had faded, about fear, about how love can be real and still feel wrong. There was no touching, no crossing of physical lines. But something deeper was happening, something neither of them could name without shaking. At one point, Lena laughed softly. "Do you know what Ryan said last week?" "What?" Ethan asked. "He said, 'I like that you don't change.' Like that was a compliment." Ethan winced. "I have changed," she said. "I'm still changing, and I feel guilty for it." "You shouldn't," Ethan said. "Growth isn't betrayal." She looked at him then, really looked like she was seeing him clearly for the first time. "That's the first time anyone has said that to me." The clock on the wall ticked past midnight before either of them noticed. "You should go," Lena said finally. "I know," Ethan replied. He walked to the door, his heart heavier. Then when he arrived at the door, Lena spoke again. "Ethan," he turned. Whatever this is, I didn't plan it." I know," he said, "but I don't want to pretend it's not happening." Neither did he. He left without touching her, without promising anything. The rain had slowed, the city quiet now. As he reached his car, his phone buzzed again. "Ryan, you up?" Lena didn't answer my call. Ethan stared at the screen, the weight of the moment crashing down on him. For the first time in his life, he didn't know what the right thing was. And somewhere behind that apartment door, Lena stood. Alone, realizing that the life she had tried to stay inside for years no longer fit at all. The night held its breath. So did they. The next morning, Seattle was gray and wet. The kind of gray that made everything feel sharper, colder, heavier. Ethan woke to the sound of rain tapping against his window, heart still tight from the night before. He couldn't shake Lena from his thoughts. He kept replaying the small things, how she looked by the window, the way her hands trembled around the mug, the honesty in her eyes. Something had shifted. Something had broken open quietly, and neither of them could ignore it. By noon, Ethan found himself walking through the city streets toward Lena's neighborhood. He told himself it was just to check if she was okay, that it was nothing more than a friend's concern. But deep down, he knew the truth. The pull he felt toward her was no longer just curiosity or concern. It was worry, desire, and a kind of longing that scared him. When he arrived, she opened the door as if she had expected him. There was no hesitation in her eyes this time, no attempt to hide what had passed in the night. She let him in silently. The apartment smelled faintly of coffee and rain. He noticed the small changes she had made. Pictures moved, flowers on the windowsill, a notebook open on the table. She had been thinking, planning, reflecting. They sat together in the living room, both quiet, both aware of the weight of the unspoken. Lena finally broke the silence. "I didn't sleep well last night," she admitted, voice low. "Thinking about everything, about us, about Ryan, about what I'm feeling. It's like my heart is trying to get out of a room that doesn't fit me anymore." Ethan nodded. "I know that feeling. It's exhausting." "I feel guilty," Lena said, twisting her hands in her lap. for even thinking about you, for feeling like this, for not being able to stay the person Ryan wants me to be. You're not responsible for someone else's expectations, Ethan said gently. You're responsible for your own heart, for what you need. And right now it seems like your heart isn't in the space it's supposed to be. Lena looked at him, eyes shining. It's like I'm outgrowing everything I thought I wanted. I thought I wanted stability, love, the future we planned. But Ryan, he loves me for the version of me that doesn't exist anymore. And you see me. You see who I am now. The words hung between them. Ethan's chest tightened. He wanted to say something, to promise something, to fix the confusion and pain. But he knew words couldn't do that. Not this time. I don't know what to do, Lena admitted, her voice breaking slightly. I don't want to hurt anyone. I don't want to destroy the life I've built. But I also can't ignore how I feel. I can't pretend anymore. Ethan reached out, gently touching her hand. Not in a move toward romance, but in a gesture of support, of presence. She didn't pull away. She didn't ask him to stop. Just let him be there. They don't fit, Lena whispered after a moment. Ryan doesn't fit anymore. I've tried to squeeze into this life, into this love, but it's too tight, too constraining. He couldn't fit into what I've become. At first, but I didn't stop him from trying. And that's the hardest part, letting him try, even though he wasn't meant to. Ethan understood immediately. He had seen it all. Along the struggle, the silent battles she fought every day. Ryan loved her the way he always had, but love doesn't always grow with the person. Sometimes it stays in one place while the person moves forward faster, freer. They spent the afternoon talking. Hours passed without noticing. No one knocked. No one called. It was just them, sharing truths they hadn't dared voice to anyone. Lena laughed at little things, tears spilling from serious moments, moments of clarity, moments of fear. Ethan listened. He didn't judge. He didn't give advice. He simply was there, present in the messy, painful, beautiful unfolding of a heart trying to find its shape. As evening approached, Lena grew quiet. She looked at Ethan with something vulnerable yet steady in her eyes. I can't stay in the apartment tonight, she said. I need space to think, to breathe. Ethan nodded. Do you want me to stay? No, she said quickly. But I don't want to be alone, not completely. They agreed she would go for a walk, clear her head. Ethan sat on the couch watching her leave. He didn't follow. He didn't need to. She needed to be free, even if just for a moment, from the walls that had begun to close in around her. When Lena returned, it was late. She came in with a look of clarity, tired but certain. I can't keep living in something that doesn't fit, she said, finally. I need to be honest with myself, with Ryan, with you. Ethan stayed quiet. Words felt small compared to the magnitude of what she was saying. I don't know what comes next, Lena admitted. I can't just leap into something new. I can't promise anything to anyone, but I also can't go back to pretending. I can't force my heart into a shape it doesn't fit anymore. Ethan nodded again, understanding completely. This wasn't about betrayal, desire, or impulsive decisions. It was about growth. It's about realizing that love, while real, sometimes isn't the right fit. And sometimes the hardest thing isn't stopping someone from loving, stopping yourself from shrinking to fit what they want. That night, they didn't cross lines. They didn't make promises. They didn't plan the future. But they shared something that mattered more: truth. Truth about fear, truth about longing, truth about the life that could not continue as it had, outside. The rain finally stopped, leaving the city wet and reflective. Inside, Lena sat quietly, notebook open, writing, thinking, feeling. Ethan left quietly, walking back through the streets that seemed quieter now, slower. As if the city itself understood what had shifted. Days passed and nothing was simple. Calls from Ryan came. Conversations were difficult. But Lena handled. Then with honesty she had never mustered before. She told Ryan she needed space, that she needed to think, that she could not continue without understanding her own heart. Ethan remained a steady presence, not a savior. Not a replacement, but a witness. Someone who saw her fully and accepted her without judgment. And in that presence, Lena began to understand herself. The depth of her own needs, the reality of love that could be honest even when painful. One afternoon, as they walked along the waterfront, Lena stopped and looked at him. "You didn't stop me," she said. "When I needed to feel, to understand, to face myself, you didn't stop me. You let me be." Ethan smiled faintly. "You didn't need stopping. You needed seeing, and I've always seen you." She nodded, the wind catching her hair, eyes shining. "I don't know what will happen. I don't know if we can, if I can." "You'll know," he said. "You'll know when it's right. Till then, you just live honestly. That's enough." It was enough. For now, it was enough to sit with truth, to live with honesty, to honor feelings rather than ignore them. It was a dangerous space, a fragile space, but it was real. And sometimes, Ethan thought, that's the hardest kind of love. The love that doesn't promise forever. That doesn't guarantee comfort. That doesn't make life neat. The love that simply allows you to be yourself fully, without compromise, without pretending. As they walked back toward the city streets, the sun finally breaking through the clouds, Ethan realized something he had never admitted before, that loving someone properly doesn't always mean being together. Sometimes it just means being there when it matters, letting them grow, letting them see themselves clearly. And for Lena, that was exactly what she needed. The path forward was uncertain. No, the outcomes were unknown. But in the quiet honesty of those days, they had found something stronger than desire, stronger than habit, stronger than the life she had tried to force herself to fit into. They had found clarity, and that clarity, Ethan knew, would guide her. Even if it guided her somewhere he could not follow, because sometimes love's truest form isn't possession. It's understanding. And letting go, even when letting go hurts, more than anything else. That night, Seattle glowed under streetlights reflecting on wet pavement. Lena wrote in her notebook. Ethan walked home alone, feeling the weight of the moment, the responsibility of the truth, and the strange, quiet relief of knowing that real love can exist even when it doesn't have a place to stay. It wasn't the ending anyone expected, but it was honest. And in that honesty, they both began to breathe again. And sometimes Ethan realized that's all that really matters.